What's up, guys? I'm currently entering in the food. I've been eating for today. Signing up for Eden. It's a good name. So I had salmon, peas. Maybe that was like a third of a cup. Yeah, there's like crab cake stuff. Like one of them. Not that much. And I had some water. See, measuring what you're doing is a really good way of making sure you stay on track. Probably like 3.1 teaspoons, let's say, whole milk. Probably have like a tablespoon of whole milk. I just started using some olive oil too. I can't tell you, like I feel generally better by focusing on trying to have a balanced diet. Yeah, I'll show you what I'm doing. No, it's not it. Why isn't it working? I can't find my Chrome window. That's weird. It's just not there. I'm trying to show you the food tracking thing that I use. I guess if I just do this. I see my whole fucking life spreading my ass over the entire internet. I'm gonna get fucked. Unless this is chronometer. You can see I have shit kind of organized too. And this is just like me showing like what I'm What is it? The stuff that I eat. So I just made like, and you can go crazy like with this shit, but you don't have to. Like I don't need to write the brand or whatever. Probably one, two. Okay, so this is where I'm at for the day, and it tells you like, so I need more vitamin C, vitamin A, calcium, fiber, folate. This you can get from a supplement I use, potassium, I need that. And it breaks down like all these things, like how much you've had throughout the day. So basically it says I've had enough omega-3 fat, whatever, but I still need more fats. These are different kinds of proteins. Oh, and it tells you like, that's cool. Like which has which, that's pretty cool. Data confidence score, that's cool. Because it's not completely accurate, but like, even if you do this and it's not completely accurate, it's still better than not doing it at all, you know what I mean? Because like sort of accurate is better than just like winging it, maybe. I mean, unless you're doing like brain surgery, but like, you know, but this is really cool. Yeah, and then you can like eat what you eat, and then if you notice like, oh, I'm consistently low on like vitamin C or something, so you can look up like, you know, how do I, what foods have vitamin C. Jeez, I can't type at all. Or you could say, how do I get more vitamin C? You know, citrus fruits, orange, lemon, grapefruit, strawberries, kiwi, bell peppers, broccoli, tomatoes, Brussels sprouts, guava. Like, cool. So, and then you could just do that, and then you just track what you eat, like day in, day out. You know what I mean? I had some water in a way. Didn't track that. Oh no! Ugh, come on. Why do you do that? It just logs you out. It's so annoying. Oh, of course you can't fucking see anything because my stupid face is in the way. Fuck! I hate computers, dude. Just doesn't work. So annoying. Ah, and just, dude, what is going on right now? This is so annoying. Ugh. Just nothing is working. Like a password manager's not working. Fuck off. Fucking bullshit. There's the water. Let's do this again. Hate this shit, man. Can't fucking stand it. Whatever. It's not what I want to show. I don't understand why they still can't get streaming software to work very well. It's really weird to me. It's not what I want to show you. Thank you. Okay. This shows you everything I've eaten today. I was just entering in like all the amounts and stuff I've eaten so far. And then I'm just focusing on getting this to like 100% every day and not going over calorie limit so that you don't get fat. Because you can be like, oh, well, this is healthy, that's healthy, that's healthy. But if you keep eating a lot of food, even if it's healthy, and you go over your calorie expenditure, you're going to get fat. So you got to watch out for that. I think of it as like a video game, just balancing resources and numbers. And yeah, this shows you like how much I've eaten of what throughout the day. And you can just, I was showing you before, like let's say you can track what you eat. If you're consistently low in vitamin C, for example, you can just go to like Claude or some AI or whatever, or Google. Just be like, how do I get more vitamin C? You know, what do I do? So you can just ask it what to do, that kind of thing. They're probably going to add that here too. I'll be surprised, but like, it's also just like at what point, like, I mean, not every app should have an AI chatbot. You You could track a bunch of stuff. You can track alcohol, you track caffeine. You could track your water too. I had another app that I was tracking water, and then I didn't realize you can track your water in this app too. Which is like stupid. Um, so I do that, and also the cool thing about this is that certain foods have water amounts, and it'll count it towards the total amount. So it's not perfect, but like I said, this is like, I mean, as long as you're not putting like tar in your mouth or something, or poisoning yourself with alcohol. I mean, just how doing this imperfectly is better than not doing it. I feel like, I'm not an expert, um, but yeah, track your B vitamins too. Yeah, and it goes into details too. It tells you different kinds of fats. A lot of people are familiar with this, but I didn't really fully know there's all these different kinds of protein, which is cool. Um, so, like tyrosine is one, which is pretty cool, um, because tyrosine, it can get converted into like dopamine, help you focus, that kind of thing. Parmesan cheese has this, chicken has this. You can also, I have a supplement that I take, which is just this. And I feel like it helps me focus and helps with my like ADHD stuff. And if I have ADHD, I don't know, I just like to, sometimes I just I'm not able to focus well. And it couldn't be not necessarily that have some sort of disorder. It might just be like deficient in something. Like when I started taking this supplement that had a lot of B vitamins in it, and it also had methylfolate, because there's this. Let me see something. What microphone? I'll just kind of be like, whatever. Like I need to just like eat some stuff, and it's fine. And I remember I started getting these really small bowls from Whole Foods because they have like a hot food bar, and I wouldn't get these like giant things because I used to think I had to like eat a lot, but like no, you really don't. At least I'm older. I'm 32, so maybe it's different if you're like a teenager and if you're really hungry, like you need to eat because your body's developing. I don't know much about the science about that, but once you kind of like balance out or whatever, I don't know. Like I would notice that I could feel a lot better and feel fine if I would just get like this kind of small thing, like here's like the size of a Nintendo Switch controller, and I would get like this small container, maybe like this tall, like it was small, it wasn't that big, and I would just go around and I would kind of fill it with these varied things that would help me out, you know, that I know like, okay, I need to eat that, I need to eat this, and I would just kind of like fill it up a little bit, and sometimes I won't even fill it up all the way or whatever, and just eat that. And I have a bunch of different things in there. Like I throw like pumpkin seeds, eggs, some meat. If there were like vegetables, put that in, some carrots, and I would go to like a salad bar and just like sprinkle stuff on there. Like I wouldn't like fill it up with like this giant thing of like blueberries. No, I just put like 2 in there, you know, or like a little bit of Parmesan cheese or something, like, you know, just whatever. I would kind of get this varied thing, so I would control it in terms of budget, and also like what I'm actually eating, too. Because I grew up, like I think my habit was like I always thought I needed to eat more than I actually needed to. I think that can lead to you becoming like fat or obese. Like you keep gaining weight, but you don't need to, if you don't need to eat more than what you need to eat, I guess. And also, I would like obsessively avoid sugar. I feel better having something sweet, like every day or two, because I just feel happier, because it's nice. It's nice having sugar. And when they say too, like for guys, if you don't have a lot of carbohydrates, you don't make as much testosterone, I think. So like, remember I tried to avoid like bread and stuff for a while, and I didn't feel good. But then I started like eating bread, like just ate like a fucking roll of bread, and I was like, I'm gonna get fat. And it's like, no, because if you really put it in like a calorie or food tracker, you can have like a roll of like sourdough bread, and it's actually like not like a hunk of bread, and it's not gonna, not, it's too many calories. It's not like crazy, unless you're in like a crazy deficit or something. But like, it wasn't that insane. And then I would feel so much better. Like just have some bread or something, just feel good, But yeah, so I'm just experimenting with stuff, and you kind of like read health information, and but if you have something like this, it really shows you like an overview of like, oh, here's what's actually happening. Like generally, it's not like extraordinarily accurate probably, but it's like this is kind of what's going on. Then you can see things. Like I said, I notice I barely ever, I often don't get a lot of vitamin C. Often I would see I don't eat a lot of protein. So let's see what happens if I fix that, And yeah, and then like I used to experiment a lot with supplements too. Now I kind of condense it down. Now I just take something for focus. I take B vitamins, and I will take like 5-HTP and ashwagandha sometimes, because I noticed I had a lot of anxiety. I noticed like things like I would feel better if I took an edible, for example. That felt good. But yeah, because I just noticed I was just really anxious. Tracking your stuff is really important. But yeah, and there's other stuff that you can do too, where like it's just like not working. Um, but there's other stuff you can do too, like, you know, just using a calendar. Like, I never used a calendar. I thought they were really lame. Um, but it does give you like an overview of like, oh, you actually do only have this many hours in a day, and if there's things you have to get done, um, you know, like I can do it right now. Um, like I can put in like when I want to go to sleep. You can't see this right now because I don't want to show you my personal stuff. Let's say I want to go to sleep at like 11 or like 10 or something, and I can kind of put on my calendar like how many hours I want to sleep or whatever, and it'll tell me like, say when I want to go to sleep and when I want to wake up, you know. So that's like a non-negotiable. And let's say like you want to schedule in time for like eating. So you can like put on your calendar like I want to eat like 3 times per day or whatever, or 4 times maybe. And then you kind of like schedule your day around that kind of thing. But like I don't like to be completely inflexible, because when you're doing something you don't exactly, I got this from John Blow, but I think it's true. And I kind of thought this myself, I guess too. Like, I don't know, when you don't know exactly how to do what you're trying to do, is no use in being inflexible. And he would use this in reference to test-driven development, which is a software technique that you use to like instead of writing code to like get something done, you write like a test to make sure your code does what you want it to do. And then like you write the test first, which is it's an automated test that is code itself, that like will run your code to be like, okay, does the code that you wrote do what you're trying to make it do? So it's kind of like a test to make sure like, okay, that the code works. So you don't rely on human testing, which can be unreliable. You can make mistakes. So there's a design philosophy where you write the tests first, and they will fail, and you basically write your code until the tests don't fail anymore. So then you're sure, because I think there's issues with that too, where you're not necessarily sure, but you're more sure, I guess, that your code does what you want it to do. But if you're trying to do something completely new or different, or like some new kind of game, or new piece of software, or like a new kind of creation that's not really, maybe it's a new category, it's not really, it's an existing thing, and there's no point in being inflexible, because like the process is going to change all the time. You can think, well, this is a good way to do it, and it's like, no, it might not be. There might be a better way, and you have to kind of like allow yourself to be that flexible, where you can open up to a new process that will work better. It's supposed to be like, this is how it's done. It's like, no, this is something completely new. Maybe there's a better way to do it. Even for something that already exists, there could be a better way to do it. And if you're searching for those things, I think it doesn't help to be like extremely calcified in doing it, and it might take you a while to figure out how to do it. But once you do, you could have a better solution than anybody else, and it could change how everybody else does it too. So that's why like you can schedule your day like, okay, well, I like, let's say like if you don't really know your body yet or something, or know good processes that work for you, you can be like, okay, I like 12 p.m. I'm going to study music. And like, but from 10 to 12, I'm going to like exercise or something. But you could be like, okay, well, 10 to 12, maybe that's too much exercise for you right now. Maybe you can only do half an hour. And that's when you start to feel really exhausted. And you're like, I got to do something else. And then go do something else. You know, and maybe the next day you can do 45 minutes. You know, but maybe you'll find that like 30 minutes is enough for you. Right? And they say like, you know, you should have like more, an hour a day or something like that. Whatever it is. So maybe you want to work up to that, but maybe at first you're not able to do that. Like you can't do an hour a day. That's crazy, you know, for you, because maybe you've never worked out in your entire life. Maybe the only thing you could do is like 5-10 minutes. Great, that's better than nothing. So you can try to put that on your schedule, but if you don't hit that exact amount, don't worry about it, because like there's no point in doing something that doesn't, that like, because you may not know the schedule that works for you yet, maybe for your body, maybe it doesn't work for you, and also maybe you're not there yet. Like you have to work your way up to it, which is fine. You don't have to be perfect right away. That's fucking nuts. And I find like forcing yourself to do it, that's really stressful. I don't like that. It pisses me off. It makes me very angry. I don't like it. And then I start to hate what I'm doing, which is not good. But I find that like if I just kind of like let myself ebb and flow between things, I feel a lot better. I feel like I can get more done. And they'll say this too. There's this concept called interleaving, where you kind of interleave through different topics as opposed to like really rigidly focusing on one thing. Like if you're like doing art, for example, and you're drawing like anatomy, instead of like saying, well, I'm going to just master anatomy before I move on to anything else. It's like, well, you could get really bored. You might get burnt out. And it might be just more difficult for you to do that because you start getting like these diminishing returns when you're studying. But what you find is if you're like, I want to do some anatomy, it's like, all right, I did that for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I want to do some color theory now. I'm going to study some color. I'm going to like look at this piece that I really like and study the colors and try to copy them, figure them out. Okay, that's cool. Do that for like, and maybe you'll find that you can do that for like 2 hours and it's really interesting to you. You're like, wow, this is amazing. I'll make this bigger. So you could do that, but and then maybe like for the next like 5 days, you're just obsessed with color theory and it's really interesting to you and you love it. And you could be like, well, but I'm not working on other things. It's like, who cares? Who fucking cares? Because you have the desire and the motivation and the brain space to absorb this stuff now. Do it now. Because you're making progress. You're not making progress, right? And maybe like this kind of like organic way of doing it can create this sort of like spiky contour that leads to your own unique personal style and personal brand, right? Because there's artists out there that like, they have obvious strong suits in different points where it's like, okay, the colors that this person uses is amazing. Like Hayao Miyazaki, like he does this like, interesting kind of like dramatic storytelling, and it's not like super hyper stylized, but like his stories are like fantastical dramas, right? Whereas there's like other stuff like Studio Trigger, for example, where it's like they have this crazy wild animation and it's really entertaining and comical and a bit more like sophomoric or teenage like or whatever, but it's fun. So there's no like prescriptive right way of like doing this stuff, but I guess like the only thing you want to do is like follow your interests and just keep going, right? Because if you just stop or something, or if you don't like if you don't just like keep going with what you're doing and keep going to where you're interested in, then you might not end up there at all. And you think you have to force yourself to like, well, I have to stay here. It's like, no, just go. Like, it's fine. Do it, man. I know maybe in like 2 weeks, you'll get bored of doing color. You're like, oh no, I'm bored of doing color. What do I do? Now I want to do something else. Oh no, but there's still stuff to master with color theory. It's like, dude, go do other things. Learn perspective. Study buildings and shit. Study like machinery. That's cool. You don't have to think like, oh, but I can't do that because I have other things to do. It's like, no, this is the interleaving part, right? You've done a bunch of color stuff. Okay, put it. Then you're burnt out for a minute. Okay, put it down for a minute. You still developed all that skill. You learned all this stuff, right? You learned a bunch of things. You made a bunch of things. Now like do perspective. Study human anatomy. Study boobs. I don't know, like whatever you want. Like, and then you're gonna get bored after a while and just go do something else. That's interleaving. And you might interleave a bunch of times in the same day. Like, oh, let me do like some color stuff. Oh man, but I want to study like a little bit of machinery. Okay, go do that. Okay, and do some perspective theory and technique or whatever. Okay, go do that. Now I feel like, just drawing butts or something. Okay, go do that. Now I really want to study like Hey Arnold because I like their character design. Okay, go do that. And you're just rapidly learning. You're going through all this different stuff all the time. And you're absorbing all this different shit, and that can create this sort of unique thing in you where you can create more unique stuff. Because like imagine if you had someone who like is really keen on like, you know, kind of 90s cartoons or like Hey Arnold style or something, and you really like drawing like butts and boobs and but you're also really good at like drawing like perspective stuff and machinery. I mean, you create some pretty cool stuff. It's pretty unique. You know, people are like, wow, I've never seen anything like this before. This is amazing. It's really good. And throw in like, you know, get really good at color there too. Or maybe you don't really like color. Maybe you really like black and white. You know, so you can study manga. You can study like pen and ink drawings and shit like that. Black and white photographs and all that kind of shit. And then you get into stuff like typography and all that. You know, 'cause a lot of this like black text on a white screen often, or like black text on a white background in a book, white pages in a book, or lighter color. You know, the book, really light beige or whatever. You know, and you get into stuff like that, and don't feel bad. It's like, well, you need to learn color theory. It's like, maybe you don't even really like colors. Who cares? So don't even learn them. I don't really like doing that, so don't even do it. You know, like I don't really have an interest in oil painting, for example, or like real paints. I don't necessarily care. You know, like it's kind of cool. I really like pen and ink and like markers, and I also like watercolor. So like, why would I spend an enormous amount of time on oil painting? Why would I do that? It's like, but you need to learn that. It's like, no, you don't. You don't need to learn any of that shit. You know, if you really like markers, then draw or color with markers all the fucking time because you like it. You know, and then you could be the marker guy, you know, like, as opposed to the oil painting guy. It's, oh, but you can't paint a Rembrandt. It's like, well, fuck you. Maybe I can marker a Rembrandt. Bitch, you know, fuck off. You know, like, what the hell is that? So be unique, man, because like you could do all this shit and someone could be like, but you can't do that. It's like, fuck off. You can't do what I do. Piece of shit. Fuck off. Eat shit, man. Eat a dick. So there's that. But yeah. But I'm like, but yeah, this is kind of going off of like why I don't think you should really rigidly schedule your day. Unless there's like something like, okay, I have to be at a doctor's appointment or something. It's like, this is when I made it. It's like, okay, fine. But like other things, like you can have it free form. Like, okay, this is like free form time. Like I'm just gonna study, and it's like, what do you want to study? I don't know, like art, whatever. It's like, it's to study art, like whatever you feel like doing at that time. But the other thing too is if you have goals, where it's like, okay, well, I want to create a manga before the end of the year. I want to have like one manga that I've created, and then you have to keep that in mind. Like, okay, well, if I want to hit that deadline, because time does move on. You don't have infinite time to do all this stuff, right? If you're like, well, I want to do it before I hit 30. You know, I can't do that anymore. I'm 32, but like, I'm 32. But if you want to do that, then you have to keep that in mind. You're like, okay, well, I want to do this. I want to do it in 6 months, or I want to release it in a week. You know, whatever, like something crazy. But like, there's people who do that. They do it every 2 weeks or every week, I guess. But they have teams, I think. But yeah, but yeah, you can think that way, and then you just have to keep that in mind. And even then, I feel like it's good to have some time where you take a break away from it, right? Instead of like thinking like, okay, like, well, I need to just focus on this all the time. It's like, no, sometimes you need to take your mind off of it because your brain gets sick of it. And there's something called directed attention fatigue, where you're just like you notice this if you're playing a game, for example, and you could be playing a game for hours and you're really locked in and you're very addicted to it, and then after a while you get tired and you want to go do something else, and maybe you'll take a nap or something, but even then, like that might be that's just kind of general exhaustion, but like you might start to get that fatigue after a little while, but you might still have enough energy to go do something else. Like maybe you want to like go hang out with a friend or take a walk or something or go eat. And then you notice that your energy starts to come back a little bit, or like you just get tired of it. Like I can't do this anymore. I gotta go switch to something else, because your brain is sick of focusing on this one thing. You want to focus on something else now. That's like directed attention fatigue. I think, at least that's how I see it. So you don't need to. But no, I have to lock in. It's like, no, you don't need to do that. Like, it's fine. Don't freak out. Like. And I think sometimes like you can work harder than you think, Like I've noticed that with myself too. Like yeah, you can spend some time or you really lock in for like a few months and you just kind of force yourself to do this thing, and you will get better. But the trade-off is like you can get really tired, really exhausted, and then you might have some trouble going back to baseline where you feel okay, you feel relaxed, and you feel more like this kind of even, consistent happiness or good feeling throughout the day, because that forcing yourself to do this one thing, you can get a lot done really quickly, and it can feel good, but it can stress you out. So it's like people who like they have to like go to battle or something, or they like go to the trenches for like a few months and get this fucking thing done, and they release this like awesome video game or whatever. It's like it's great, but like then they want to take a few months off to recover because that stuff's hard. You can't just like if you think you just keep up the same kind of thing, and maybe you'll find that you like that pace. Okay, like this like Masahiro Sakurai, for example. That guy's a fucking workhorse, man. He's crazy. I don't know exactly everything that's going on. Like maybe it does cause him a lot of stress, but at the same time, he's also like 50 something, and he still looks young, which is crazy. Like pretty young. He's also Asian, so that happens. I noticed that. Maybe because they eat really well. I don't fucking know. But maybe somebody like that, like his pace is just really fast, and he enjoys throwing himself into that, like just just going. That's cool. Like I'm a little bit like that too. Like I like to move really fast with things. I like to like shove things in my brain. It's fun, but I do need breaks, and I found that like I stopped playing video games, for example, and that I think was to a detriment, because I think you can play video games for too much during the day, but for me, I really like them, and if you have a really like busy or active mind, and maybe it's because I grew up on them, so I'm like a little wired that way, and I also really like video games. Like I just like them as a medium, as an art form, as like a something, like a vertical or area in life of things that we create. I really like those things. I really enjoy them. And I was like depriving myself of that completely, because I wanted to get more stuff done. I was like, well, once I make more money, then I can play more video games. It's like, well, no, it's like you have to enjoy things along the way. You can't just always work all the time. It makes you want to die. It makes you miserable. So I started playing Stardew Valley again, and I feel like it's like wiring my brain in a way where like it's actually teaching me things, which is really cool. And I noticed that with video games where they're really good teachers, and you can apply things that work in video games to real life too, which is amazing. Like scheduling, resource management, tracking, like getting things done, productivity, slicing up your day. I feel like games like Stardew Valley, which are like these resource management games, it's a farming simulator, it's a farming game, but it's also like you do mining and you talk to people and stuff. It kind of does give you lessons for like how to do decently well in life, which is cool. Besides the relationship mechanic in that game, because it's like basically all you have to do is talk to people every day, and they only have a certain amount of things to say per day, and then you just give them a gift, do it like twice a week, and then they like you. It's just it's a little silly. It could be more complicated than that in real life, but yeah, I'm doing stuff that you enjoy. And like I remember, like I started playing it again. I just binged it for like a few hours, and it felt good because I was like finally relaxing and like letting myself do something that I enjoy. Right? I think that's really important. But yeah, so you can do all these like productivity things and like work things, and it can drive you crazy. It can also be like too much, where like you shouldn't like work all the time, because you have to enjoy your life, and I think that's also like part of working too, if you want to see it that way. If you're having trouble with this, it will make you more productive if you have times where you're not doing anything productive at all, I think, which is like having fun, because having fun is actually productive if you think about it, because like I'm just like making my Stardew Valley farm nice, and it's like it's kind of useless, but it's fun for me. It's a toy. It's enjoyable. And for me, I care about it. There's also a lot of other people who care about it too, so I can show it off to them. They can be like, "Oh my gosh, your farm is great," and that's fun. It's a fun thing to do, and it's a social thing too. But yeah, I mean, you don't want to lose sight of your goals, but you do have to have fun, and you can't shame yourself for having fun too. That sucks. Because you can be spending like 10 years working like me towards this one goal that, and then you realize you spent so much time in misery and you kind of regret it. And you wish that you can go back and like do more fun things, do other things, do cool things, enjoy what you had at the time. You know, that's a thing. So don't work all the time. It's a little crazy. Yeah, I started putting more holidays. I started putting the phases of the moon on my calendar too, because you can get a calendar like that. You add it to your Google Calendar. And, oh no, I revealed what calendar I use, or service that's connected to mine, at least. Oh no, I'm revealing so much information. But, yeah, because I started to notice that if I just like keep track of more things, it feels like your life is moving more, and it's more of like it gives you more of a sense of like keeping on track of time, I guess. I started doing things like checking the weather and stuff, because it just makes you feel like, all right, there's something going on, as opposed to like just like floating until you die. Because I feel like people can do that. You can just sort of like not care, and it's like, oh shit, like 5 years went by. What the fuck happened? So keeping track of this stuff and purposefully like, all right, I'm gonna like look at like my typical schedule. I will do that too. Like I used to do that. Like I would just like go throughout my day, and whatever I felt like doing, I would just put it on my calendar like immediately, and I'd just go do it or whatever. Or I would like go back and be like, all right, what did I do from like 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.? Oh, I was just like playing a game or I was eating. So I put that on my calendar, and you can kind of look back and you can kind of notice like, okay, like this is what I was doing, you know, this is what was going on. Yeah, like I'm looking back at it right now, and I notice like I have inconsistent sleep, and I would color code it too. And I noticed I didn't really, there was a lot of my day that was like really stressful stuff, like stuff I needed to do. And there wasn't that much time that was devoted to like stuff I felt like was productive towards my actual goals in life. So that's a thing too. But that's the cool point, the cool thing that you can have when you like keep track of all this stuff. Is you can look back at it too. You can analyze, and you can be like, you can kind of check out like, oh, this is what I did. This is what I did here. This is what I did there, and yeah, it's pretty nice. So yeah, track your time. Now I'm tired from talking, so I don't want to talk anymore. I might even take a break and go off stream. So yeah, see you later. Bye. And taking a break when you want to take a break is really important too. Don't feel bad. Sometimes, yeah, you should go a little bit longer, but like I've been streaming for 50 minutes. It's almost an hour, so that's a pretty good chunk of time. So I shouldn't. You keeping track of how long you do something too. That's good. Because I might think like, well, I got nothing done, but it's like, no, I streamed for half or almost an hour, and I taught people something.